In the shimmering chaos of New York City, where ambition pulsed through the streets like a heartbeat, Elena Voss stood at the helm of Voss Enterprises, her office a glass cathedral overlooking the city's endless sprawl. She was a titan in a world of titans, her sharp mind and unyielding drive carving her name into the annals of corporate legend. Every morning she strode through marble halls, her heels echoing like a metronome of power brokering deals that reshaped industries. Her inbox overflowed with invitations to galas and summits, yet her evenings were often spent alone, sketching jagged mountain ranges in a leather-bound notebook, a private rebellion against the polished cage of her success. Her life was a masterpiece of control, but in quiet moments she felt a hollow ache, a yearning for a connection that didn't hinge on her title or her wealth. Far from the glittering towers in a Brooklyn neighborhood, where laundry lines swayed between aging brownstones, Sam Carter moved, with a different kind of purpose, at the Harmony Community Center. He was a fixture, his weathered hands guiding children through watercolor landscapes and paper-matched dreams. He'd spent decades as a janitor in corporate high-rises, his presence as invisible as the dust he swept, but his eyes caught every detail. The slumped shoulders of an overworked intern, the half-eaten sandwiches left behind after boardroom battles. He'd retired from that life, choosing instead to pour his energy into the center where he taught kids to see beauty in their own messy creations. His own story was one of quiet loss, his wife taken by illness years ago, his son now a distant voice on the phone living in Seattle. Yet Sam found joy in the small things. A child's proud grin, a perfectly mixed shade of blue. Their worlds were as distant as stars in different galaxies. Elena's life, a high-wire act of power. Sam's a grounded tapestry of service, but a spark of serendipity was about to draw them together, orchestrated by Lily Nguyen, a whirlwind of an event planner with a heart as big as her ideas. Lily ran the community center's fundraising efforts, and this year she'd dreamed up a charity gala with a twist, a blind date auction to raise money for art programs she'd known Elena from a chance meeting at a corporate retreat, where the CEO's unexpected kindness stuck with her, and she'd watched Sam light up the center with his steady warmth, convincing Elena was a battle. The CEO's calendar was a fortress, but Lily's pitch about a night of no-strings fun for a good cause chipped away at her defenses. Elena agreed, half expecting a stuffy financier or a tech bro who'd bore her with stock tips. Sam was an easier sell, chuckling at Lily's enthusiasm, his heart stirring at the thought of a new connection. After years of solitude, the rules were delightfully simple. Meet at the Clover Cafe, a charming spot nestled near Central Park's northern edge. No names, no backgrounds, just a table for two under amber lights, and the promise of an evening that could surprise as the date approached. Elena found herself oddly unsettled, her usual laser focus wavering during a pitch to investors, her thoughts drifting to the mystery of who she'd meet. She imagined someone from her orbit, sharp, witty, matching her stride, but a deeper part of her, the part that sketched stormy seas in her notebook, hoped for someone who'd see the woman behind the CEO. Sam, meanwhile, spent the morning before the date at the center helping a shy teenager finish a mural of Brooklyn's skyline. He chose a simple outfit, his best corduroy jacket and a shirt ironed with care, tucking a small sketchbook into his pocket, a relic from his janitor days filled with doodles of city corners and fleeting moments. He'd also gathered a modest bouquet of daisies and marigolds from the community garden, their vibrant simplicity a reflection of his belief that beauty didn't need a price tag. As the afternoon sun painted the city gold, Elena stepped from her sleek town car, her navy coat catching the October breeze. She paused outside the cafe, her breath visible in the crisp air, her heart thumping with a mix of curiosity and nerves, a rare crack in her composed exterior. Sam arrived minutes earlier, his steps slow and deliberate, his eyes scanning the cafe's warm glow through the window. He adjusted the bouquet in his hand, feeling a flicker of anticipation. His life had taught him to expect little but to hope for much inside the cafe. The air was thick with the scent of roasted coffee and possibility tables, adorned with tiny vases of lavender, setting a stage for connection. Two souls from opposite ends of the city's spectrum stood on the cusp of a meeting that could unravel their assumptions. Elena's world of power and Sam's of quiet service were about to collide, not with a clash, but with a gentle spark that could illuminate the truth that worth isn't measured by titles or wealth, but by the courage to see and be seen in the raw, honest light of a single shared evening. At the Clover Cafe, where the scent of fresh espresso mingled with the soft hum of evening chatter, Elena Voss sat at a corner table, her posture impeccable yet her fingers betraying a rare nervousness as they traced the rim of a ceramic mug. She scanned the room, her sharp eyes accustomed to reading boardroom cues. Now searching for her mystery date. The blind date auction had promised anonymity, but Elena was used to control too, knowing every variable before entering a room. This uncertainty felt like stepping off a cliff. Her mind flickered between curiosity and skepticism, wondering if this stranger could offer anything beyond small talk, or worse, a lecture on market trends across the cafe. Sam Carter pushed through the door, his corduroy jacket slightly too big for his lean frame, but worn with a quiet dignity. He clutched his bouquet of daisies and marigolds, their petals bright against the muted tones of his outfit. His eyes, warm and observant, caught the glow of the cafe's string lights reflecting off the window, and for a moment he paused, struck by the simple beauty of the scene. He'd always noticed such things, a habit from years of sweeping corporate floors where he'd find poetry in the mundane, like the way light danced on a polished desk, or a forgotten pen told a story of haste. As he approached the table marked with a small lavender sprig per Lily's instructions, he spotted Elena, her presence commanding even in repose. Their eyes met, and the air shifted. Not with fireworks, but with a subtle charge, like the first note of a song neither knew they'd been waiting to hear. Elena offered a polite smile, her CEO instincts kicking in as she extended a hand, introducing herself simply as Elena. No titles, no armor. Sam returned a gentle grin, his handshake firm but unhurried, his voice carrying a warmth that put her at ease. "I'm Sam," he said, setting the bouquet on the table, a gesture that made Elena's brow lift in surprise, not at the flowers, but at the sincerity behind them. Their conversation began tentatively, like two dancers learning each other's steps. Elena led with crisp questions about favorite books and city haunts, her tone polished but probing, testing if Sam could keep up. He answered thoughtfully, his words unpolished but rich with insight, sharing a love for old detective novels and the quiet of early morning walks in Brooklyn. Elena found herself leaning in, intrigued by his lack of pretense, a stark contrast to the calculated charm she navigated daily. Sam in turn noticed her precision, the way she chose each word, like a chess move, yet he caught a flicker in her eyes, a hunger for something real that mirrored his own. As they ordered coffee and shared a plate of biscotti, the conversation deepened. Elena mentioned her company, Voss Enterprises, in passing, a reflex from a life where work defined her. Sam's eyes lit with a spark of recognition, but he said nothing, only nodding as he sipped his coffee. The moment passed unnoticed by Elena, but it hung in the air, a thread of their shared past waiting to be pulled. Years ago, Sam had worked nights at Voss Enterprises, cleaning offices, while Elena, then an intern, burned at the midnight oil, her desk a chaos of notes and coffee cups. He'd tidied her space, left small kindnesses, a straightened pile of papers, a spare pen when hers ran dry. Acts she'd never traced to the quiet man with the broom. Now as they talked, Sam's attention to detail shone through. He noticed a coffee stain on the table and wiped it with a napkin, a small act that made Elena pause, her mind flashing to a memory of her intern days when her desk always seemed magically organized. She laughed, mentioning her obsession with efficiency, and Sam chuckled, a sound warm and low, saying he'd always believed in leaving things better than he found them. Their exchange grew lighter, peppered with observational humor. Elena teased Sam's choice of decaf. He countered with a playful jab at her triple espresso habit, yet beneath the banter a current of curiosity flowed. Elena sensed depth in Sam's simplicity, a man who spoke of life's small joys with a reverence she'd lost in her climb to the top. Sam felt a guarded warmth, her quick wit masking a vulnerability he recognized from years of watching people from the sidelines. As the evening wore on, Elena asked about Sam's work, assuming he was perhaps a teacher given his ease with stories. Sam smiled, softly mentioning he volunteered at a community center, teaching kids art, but he let slip he used to work at a place like hers, cleaning up after the big shots. His tone held no bitterness, just a quiet pride that made Elena's breath catch. The word janitor hung unspoken, a clue to their past connection. Neither yet fully grasped the cafe's lights dimmed, signaling closing time, but their conversation felt unfinished. Elena surprised herself by suggesting they walk through Central Park to stretch the evening. Sam agreed, his heart lifting at the prospect of more time with this woman whose fire matched his calm as they stepped into the cool night air, the city's pulse around them. Elena felt a spark of something new, not romance but a possibility, a chance to be seen beyond her title. Sam too felt it, a hope that this night might be the start of a story. Neither had expected one that could bridge their worlds with a single honest thread. As they wandered the winding paths of Central Park under the canopy of rustling leaves, illuminated by scattered lampposts, Elena and Sam's conversation flowed like a gentle stream, uncovering layers neither had expected to reveal. The cool night air carried hints of earth and distant rain, prompting Elena to share fragments of her journey, how she'd clawed her way from a small-town girl with big dreams to the pinnacle of Voss Enterprises, her voice softening as she recalled the grueling intern days buried in spreadsheets and caffeine-fueled nights when doubt gnawed at her edges. Sam listened, his steps matching hers, his own memories stirring like whispers from the past. He nodded, sharing how he'd spent years in the shadows of those very towers, his mop and bucket his tools for quiet service at Voss Enterprises, where he'd seen the raw underbelly of ambition, the tears shed in empty offices, the triumphs celebrated with forgotten champagne flutes. In a seamless shift, the story dipped into flashbacks, painting vivid scenes of Elena's ascent, starting as a wide-eyed intern in the dimly lit basement office, her desk a fortress of ambition piled high with reports and red-marked drafts. She'd stay late, her eyes burning from the screen, chasing perfection in every presentation. Her breakthrough came during a stormy evening when a critical pitch loomed, and her pen ran dry, mid-note, frustration mounting until she found a fresh one tucked neatly in her drawer, a small miracle she attributed to luck, but which carried her through to seal her first big deal, propelling her upward to junior executive, then department head. Her rise, a testament to grit, yet laced with isolation as colleagues viewed her as untouchable. Sam's world unfolded in parallel, his nights a rhythm of keys jingling and floors gleaming. He'd enter the offices after hours, his presence a ghost in the machine, noticing the chaos on that intern's desk, Elena's though he never knew her name. He'd straightened the papers, wiped the spills, and once, spotting her frantic notes, leave a spare pen from his pocket, a simple act born of empathy. Remembering his own struggles as a young father scraping by, he'd even slip an encouraging note under a stack, words like "keep pushing, you've got this," scribbled in his steady hand, acts that went unnoticed but rippled outward, easing her path without fanfare. His wisdom gleaned from life's plumbed hard knocks, infused his work. He'd chat with security guards, share coffee with late-night stragglers, offering bits of advice that stuck like seeds. One evening, he'd fixed a flickering light in Elena's office, banishing the shadows that mirrored her doubts, allowing her to focus and nail a promotion pitch. These moments intertwined unknowingly. Sam's kindness, the invisible scaffolding for Elena's climb back in the present. As they paused by a serene pond, its surface rippling under moonlight, Elena laughed, recounting that lucky pen story, her eyes sparkling with nostalgia. Sam's face lit with realization, his voice gentle as he admitted, "That was me. I left it for the determined young woman who burned the midnight oil." Elena froze, her mind racing through the years, the organized desk, the notes that had buoyed her spirits in dark times. The aha moment crashed over them like a wave, their shared history crystallizing in a rush of emotion, tears welling in her eyes as she whispered, "You were there all along, my guardian in the shadows." Sam's own eyes misted, his heart swelling with the unexpected validation of his quiet impact. The dynamic shifted from curious strangers to kindred spirits bound by threads of the past. Elena reached for his hand, her touch tentative but real, gratitude flooding her words for the unseen support that had shaped her. Sam squeezed back, his voice thick with feeling, proud to have played a part in her story, even from the fringes. As they resumed their walk the park's paths seemed brighter, the weight of their worlds lifting in this revelation, sparking a deeper bond forged in the fires of unrecognized connection. A reminder that every life touches others in ways profound and hidden, ready to bloom under the light of acknowledgement. With the weight of their shared history lifting like fog in the morning sun, Elena and Sam settled on a weathered park bench, the city's distant hum a soft backdrop to their unfolding dialogue. The surprise of recognition had cracked open doors, long sealed, shifting their blind date from awkward novelty to a canvas of genuine curiosity. Elena leaned back, her guard softening as she confessed the isolation of her CEO life, how boardrooms echoed with accolades, but rarely with true companionship. Her voice carried a vulnerability she seldom showed, admitting that her rise had come at a cost, friendships reduced to LinkedIn connections, romantic prospects intimidated by her shadow. Sam listened, his presence a steady anchor, sharing his own echoes of loneliness the years after his wife's passing, where grief had carved deep grooves in his days, yet he'd filled them with purpose. At the community center, where children's laughter became his bomb in this exchange, they unearthed surprising commonalities, both driven by an unyielding work ethic. Elena's forged in competitive fires, Sam's in the quiet persistence of daily labors. They spoke of dreams, Elena's childhood visions of building something lasting, now realized in her empire, but tainted by the fear it could crumble. Sam's aspirations, simpler yet profound, raising his son to be kind and self-reliant, now extending to mentoring kids who reminded him of his younger self, their values aligned like stars in constellation. Hard work not for acclaim, but for the quiet satisfaction of making a difference. Elena shared a story of a deal that nearly broke her, the pressure mounting until she sketched a stormy sea in her notebook, the act calming her enough to prevail. Sam nodded, pulling out his journal, its pages filled with pencil sketches of Brooklyn streets and fleeting faces. He handed it to her, his trust a gift. Elena's fingers traced the lines, her eyes widening at the raw emotion captured in simple strokes. "You see the soul in things," she murmured, admitting her own drawings were tucked away in a drawer, dismissed as a frivolous hobby, unfit for a leader. Sam's gentle rebuttal warmed her creativity. "Isn't a luxury, it's the breath of life," he said, recounting how he'd doodle during janitor breaks, finding poetry in the mundane, like the curve of a discarded coffee cup or the play of light on an empty hallway. Elena felt a stir within, a reminder of why she'd started sketching, to escape the rigidity of her world. As they delved deeper, anxieties surfaced: Elena's fear of being defined solely by success, the nagging doubt that without her title she was invisible. Sam echoed this, his worry that his life's small acts would fade unnoticed like footprints in sand. Yet in voicing these they found solace. Elena, inspired by Sam's contentment in modesty, how he measured worth by the smiles he sparked, not the zeros in a bank account. Sam in turn admired Elena's courage, the way she'd shattered ceilings he'd only cleaned beneath. Their differences became bridges, not barriers. Elena's high-stakes world of mergers and global travel contrasting Sam's grounded routine of art classes and garden tending. But these sparked lively debate, Elena challenging Sam on ambition's role in change, Sam countering with tales of how one kind word could alter a child's path. A poignant moment unfolded when Sam suggested they try something hands-on. He tore a page from his journal, teaching her to fold an origami crane, his calloused fingers guiding her manicured ones, patient as she fumbled the creases, laughing at her initial mess. "It's about the folds that hold it together," he whispered, "not the perfect edges." Elena's success came with a triumphant grin, the tiny crane perched in her palm, a symbol of fragility and strength, much like their budding bond. Tears pricked her eyes as she realized this was the first time in years someone had seen her struggle without judgment. Sam, too, felt a thaw in his heart. This woman, whose path he'd unknowingly eased, now illuminating his own. As the stars wheeled overhead, their talk turned to hopes for the future. Elena envisioning ways to infuse her company with more humanity, perhaps programs for employee creativity. Sam dreaming of expanding the center to reach more kids. Their shared experiences wove a tapestry of understanding, proving that beneath the labels of CEO and janitor beat hearts yearning for the same authenticity. connection that transcended status. A quiet revolution sparked in that park bench conversation, challenging them to look beyond facades and embrace the profound beauty in another's story. As the first hints of dawn crept over the horizon, painting the park in soft pinks and golds, Elena and Sam rose from the bench, their night of revelations stretching into an unexpected marathon of shared truths. The air between them hummed with a newfound ease, no longer strangers but allies forged in the fire of mutual discovery. Elena surprised even herself by extending an offer as they strolled toward the park's edge, her voice tentative yet sincere. "Sam, with your insight and heart for people, Voss Enterprises could use someone like you, not in the shadows this time, but as a consultant perhaps, helping us build programs that value every employee from the ground up." It wasn't pity in her eyes, but genuine respect, a recognition that his quiet wisdom could transform her corporate world. Sam paused his steps, halting under a canopy of ancient oaks, his face a mix of gratitude and resolve. He squeezed her hand lightly, his touch conveying years of unspoken strengths. "Elena, I appreciate that more than you know," he replied, his tone steady but warm. "It means the world that you see value in what I've done, but my path now is with the kids, at the center where I can touch lives, one crayon at a time, without the weight of titles or deadlines." Yet he countered with a spark in his eye. "What if we collaborated instead? Your resources could fund art supplies, scholarships, even a partnership where your executives volunteer mentoring the next generation." Elena's eyes lit up the idea, igniting like a flame in dry tinder. "Yes," she breathed, "a bridge between our worlds, not forcing one into the other, but blending them for something greater." They exchanged numbers under the rising sun, their parting not a goodbye but a promise of continuation. Elena slipping the origami crane into her pocket, a talisman of the night's magic. Sam pocketing a quick sketch she dashed off on his journal page, a whirlwind of lines capturing the park's serenity. As she climbed into a waiting cab, her mind raced with possibilities, already drafting emails in her head for a new initiative inspired by Sam's ethos: employee wellness through creative outlets, anonymous kindness campaigns echoing the notes he'd left years ago. Back at her penthouse, she placed the crane on her nightstand, its delicate folds a reminder that strength came from vulnerability, not unyielding steel. Sam returned to his modest apartment, the bouquet now wilting but his spirit blooming. He framed Elena's sketch on his wall, a symbol of how far a single act could ripple, calling his son later that day to share the story, his voice alive with wonder at how life could loop back in such poetic ways. Weeks unfolded with their connection deepening, not into romance but a profound friendship. Elena visiting the community center, her designer shoes traded for sneakers as she joined an art class, her laughter mingling with the kids as paint splattered freely. Sam attending a Voss event as her guest, his quiet observations offering insights that shifted boardroom discussions toward empathy over efficiency. Their collaboration bore fruit, a joint program funding art therapy for underserved youth with Voss employees volunteering time. The unexpected outcome wasn't a fairy tale ending, but a real evolution. Elena learning to pause amid her empire's rush, finding joy in small acts, like leaving notes for her staff. Sam gaining confidence to share his story broader, perhaps even writing a book on the power of unseen kindness. Their bond challenged stereotypes, the millionaire CEO and former janitor, proving that true wealth lay in human ties, not bank balances. As months passed, their story whispered through circles, inspiring others to look beyond labels, to seek connections in unlikely places, leaving a heartwarming legacy that in the tapestry of life, the most vibrant threads were those woven from surprise, understanding, and the courage to appreciate the extraordinary in the ordinary. In the quiet aftermath of their transformative night, where revelations had bridged the chasm between skyscrapers and street corners, Elena Voss returned to her empire at Voss Enterprises with a renewed vision. No longer content to rule from an ivory tower, she began weaving threads of change into the fabric of her company. Inspired by Sam's unseen acts of kindness, she launched an employee recognition program, spotlighting the quiet heroes, the receptionists who greeted with genuine smiles, the maintenance staff who kept the gears turning smoothly. Anonymous notes of appreciation appeared on desks, much like those Sam had left years ago, fostering a culture where every role was valued, not just the ones in corner offices. Her boardroom meetings shifted to incorporating moments for creative brainstorming where executives sketched ideas on whiteboards, echoing the freedom she'd felt. Folding that origami crane with Sam, the impact rippled outward, morale soared. Innovation flourished, as employees felt seen, their contributions no longer invisible shadows but celebrated lights. Elena herself transformed, stepping out from behind her title to host informal coffee chats with staff, sharing her own vulnerabilities. The small-town girl who'd risen through grit and unexpected help. This evolution didn't stop at corporate walls. She channeled resources into the collaboration with Sam's community center funding, expanded art programs that reached hundreds of kids from underserved neighborhoods, workshops where Voss volunteers taught alongside Sam, blending business acumen with creative play. The center thrived, its walls bursting with color and laughter, new murals depicting dreams unbound by circumstance. Sam in turn bloomed under this spotlight, his confidence growing like a well-tended garden, no longer confined to quiet mentorship. He began speaking at local events, sharing his journey from janitor to beacon of kindness, his story resonating with audiences who saw in him a mirror of their own overlooked potential. He even started that book, a collection of essays on the power of small acts, illustrated with his sketches, each page a testament to how one person's empathy could alter trajectories. Elena contributed a foreword, her words praising the man who'd been her silent ally. Their friendship deepened through regular meets, coffee in the park, or visits to the center where Elena rolled up her sleeves to paint with the kids, her laughter free and unburdened. Sam's son flew in for a visit, witnessing the profound change in his father, a man now standing taller, his wisdom amplified by this unlikely alliance. As seasons turned, their stories spread whispered in corporate circles and community gatherings, inspiring others to bridge divides. A young intern at Voss sought out the janitorial team, offering thanks that sparked lasting bonds. A child at the center dreamed of becoming a CEO, vowing to remember the roots of kindness. Elena and Sam occasionally reflected on that blind date, the randomness that unveiled profound truths. In Elena's penthouse, the origami crane still perched on her desk, a fragile reminder of strength found in connection. At Sam's apartment, her sketch hung framed, capturing not just the park but the essence of possibility. Their impact echoed far beyond personal growth, challenging societal notions of worth in a world obsessed with titles and trophies, where success was measured in stock prices and status. Elena and Sam proved that true richness lay in the heart's currency, the ability to see beyond labels, to recognize the humanity in every soul. Their bond a beacon illuminating that the most enduring legacies were built not on empires of steel but on foundations of empathy and understanding. In the end, as they stood together at a center fundraiser watching kids unveil a collaborative mural depicting unity across divides, Elena turned to Sam, her eyes shining with gratitude. "You changed my world without even knowing it," she said, and Sam smiled, his voice soft but sure. "And you gave mine a voice. We all have invisible threads connecting us. It's in pulling them closer that we truly see the masterpiece of life." Together, they embodied a heartwarming truth that unexpected bonds could heal divides, fostering a ripple of change that touched countless lives, reminding everyone that in the grand tapestry of existence, the truest connections emerged from seeing the heart behind the nameplate, weaving stories of hope, resilience, and the boundless power of human kindness.